This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV Profit.
For the first time in 25 years, rural spending is growing faster than urban consumption, perhaps highlighting that Bharat is catching up with India. So will the rural growth provide the big boost for the country's growth in the years to come? But with basic amenities like education, electricity, healthcare still lacking, will it take a long time for the face of rural India to change dramatically? That's the big debate on We Mean Business today. I'm Shweta Rajpal-Kohli. Joining me on the show, Dr. David M Dror, founding chairman of the Micro Insurance Academy. He joins us here in the Delhi studio. Also, Sunil Alag, independent business consultant, joins us from Kolkata. Mr. Amitabh Mal, partner and director of BCG, joins us from Mumbai. Also from Mumbai, Pankaj Gupta, practice head of consumer and retail from the Tata Strategic Management Group. A Mahindran, MD of GCPL, Godrej Consumer Products Limited, joins us from Mumbai. And also a very special guest, Chavi Rajawat, the Sarpanch or the elected head of the Village Council of Soda, joining us from the Jaipur studio. We now go across to someone else who is also doing absolutely pioneering work in India, largely based on that rural growth story that we're here to discuss on the show today. Dr. David M Dror, who's the chairman and managing director of the Micro Insurance Academy. Dr. Dror, your work here in India largely based on the fact that people in rural India want to buy insurance, want to make sure that they are hedging themselves against various risks. Do you really believe in the rural growth story?
The rural population in India is not an option for the future. It is the majority of the country, and it is not only the majority in terms of number of people, but also in terms of the issues, the growth, the land, the resources, everything.
Right.
So the heart and soul of India, has been said many a time, is in rural India. Everything else depends on that. Now, the services, particularly social services, essential issues relating to housing, relating to access to healthcare, relating to water, relating to roads, to electricity, to those things that people absolutely take for granted in very many urban areas, are just not developing as they should, as they could in rural India. And to say the government should do more is all good and well. To say that corporate should do more is also good and well. The reality is that no country in the world has ever developed by expecting, when 3% of the taxable revenue is taxed, that governments can create the transfer of income without contributory schemes that reach each and every beneficiary.
Right.
The contribution may be small, but it can't be zero. You can't build a solution for rural India on the assumption that everything has to be from the government kitty, when most people don't necessarily pay on all their assets, and the transfer of that asset, of that redistribution, is so imperfect.
Dr. Dror, a quick word from you on, it's easy to understand the consumption patterns when it comes to consumer goods. That's something that Mr. Alag is talking about. It's something that's perhaps easier to understand. But how does it work in case of financial instruments and understanding the patterns there?
People are exposed to risk and they're aware of their risks. They have a very clear priority about what they are willing to do in order to diffuse, mitigate, lower those exposures. Health is a #1 item that comes up everywhere you look. When people live on something like 25, 30, 35 or even 40 rupees a day, they are not worried about, maybe they dream about buying a car, maybe they dream about a smartphone, but their immediate needs are health, food and shelter. These are not abstract issues. These are very, very real issues with very high priority. So, what do they want? They want an access to a solution that is affordable to them. They feel that if they can enforce a contract, they're fine with it. If they can't enforce a contract, they don't want insurance. In other words, they want insurance in which they feel the deal will be fair and affordable. And that requires that it will be localized, that the risks in that village will be covered, not something that is designed by people who are far away and who have no idea what the reality of the villager is,
Right.
that the pricing would be local, not based on national prices or Delhi prices, and
So these
that
are customized products.
completely
you're talking about.
customized,
Okay.
context specific,
Right.
priced and selected, designed for local risks. And the other element, which is very, very critical, is who is going to process the claims? Who is actually
Right.
pay against those premiums?
Right.
If it is done far away by people who don't know my reality, who don't know, essentially, who have no sanction in not keeping the contract, then rural poor that we work with in Orissa, in Bihar, in UP, in other places, are not interested. It's not that they're not interested in the financial instrument.
Sure.
They are not interested in a deal where they feel they can't enforce their rights in the deal. Now, I agree to the comment made by the previous speaker that about 1/3 of the districts in India have developed very much, and very many have been left behind. But
So
the
it's
issue,
not uniform, clearly, and
Clearly
it's
not
pockets
uniform.
of growth that we're talking about.
but the
Right.
consequence is that you cannot go with one-size-fits-all solutions. And the nature of business and the nature of government have been that they are looking for one-size-fits-all solutions, whether it's NREGA, RSBY, or very many other cross-cutting programs. They may fit very well in some places, they will be completely misfitting in other places, and even the definition of who is entitled to these entitlements.
Sure.
The famous BPL or below BPL, above BPL is a very iffy proposition, very difficult to implement when you don't really have information on income, and it's all hearsay. It's all subject to mistakes, some of which in good faith, some of it maybe not. This is, of course, known to everybody in rural India. So the question is, what can be done that would not be simply transferring a problem from one angle to another? And the best way that I can think of, and the best way that has actually given the biggest growth to rural Europe more than 100 years ago, has been to involve people in devising their own solutions. That is local, that must be local.
But is that
cannot be
practical,
one.
Dr. Dror? Is the
Absolutely
point. In a
practical.
country of the size of 1.2 billion, is that a practical thing?
It is. The society is maybe of 1.2 billion for the statisticians. Go to any village in India and the society is composed of 150 people.
Okay.
The world is my village, not the
Hold
rest.
your thought, because I'm going to get Chavi and Sunil Alak to respond to that. Chavi, would you agree with that view? Dr.
India
Dror,
and
if he's devising insurance products, keeping that in mind.
The answer to that is yes. People want composite solutions for their own health, for livestock, for agriculture, because crop is very, very important. But to say that livestock comes before people is a very challenging kind of a statement. Let me give you
visit the
Cambodia.
villages. I'm telling you, please visit the villages
I do
and
too.
you will find out. I will send you statistical. I was there in a rural marketing program and there were people from Dabur and a number of people who are into health sciences. I don't have the statistics with me. I was quite surprised by the numbers myself. Please try and understand that if I had 100 rupees and I could insure my house and my family and the cows and everything else, I'd do it. But if I have 25 rupees, I have to prioritize. All I'm saying is, please go and ask them where their priority lies. Because everyone doesn't have enough money to do everything. So you're right. Of course, I want to insure everyone. I want to insure everything. Do I have that money? No. So I'll do one this year and I'll do the other one next year. If you don't understand the prioritization, I think you're going to make a big mistake. That's all I'm saying.
Cambodia is another agricultural country, just to take an example. 80% of the landless farmers in Cambodia have become landless because of a single health event in their family. Now, once they have become landless, it takes a full generation for them to retrieve the piece of land that they sold in order to pay for the health costs of a family member that very often they couldn't even save. This is what we see also in Kalahandi in Orissa, where we work. This is where we see what we see in Vaishali, in Pratapgarh, in Rasulabad, in Ahmednagar, and in many other places. I am there. I have seen it. I'm sorry if I don't look it, but I know those villages and I know the villagers, and when we come to them and we ask them, what is it that you would prioritize? They don't tell you, they don't tell me jeans, they don't even tell me television. They would say electricity.
What age group are you talking to?
Give me water, give me water, and give me a way to come to hospital.
What age group are you talking to?
Age group.
I come
He's
back
asking
again.
the age group.
What age group did you speak with? Please,
we always
you must
speak to
understand
groups.
India, there is a younger age group. Okay, then
we
we've got
always
different
speak to
views.
groups.
I mean, and we have to differ.
I think that with those 10 rupees, not everybody would prioritize a buffalo. Some would prioritize a buffalo, and some would prioritize other things. And there is a variance. But the question, what will the group, the village, the community do, is very much dependent on the consensus. If you think that you want mobile phone, but everybody in your village will give you a different choice, you will align to that consensus. If you want to do something sensible, and everybody else tells you, better do something else, yes, you will align to that as well. The gap between individual choice and collective choice is very important in rural India. It's not as important in urban, and it's not as important amongst populations that get their reference not from a group, a living group, but from a television, an advertising, different world.
All right, animal husbandry and husbandry have to go hand in hand. Dr. Dror, your closing comments, clearly the rural story is the story to watch out for.
My closing comment is, if there is one thing that rural India needs, it is mass customization, not mass production, not top-down, rather patronizing solutions that usually are exhausted very quickly and are found to be faulty, imperfect. Mass customization to allow people to devise their own solutions and support them in it, not buy them away from it. Narega makes people, farmers, stop growing because they get money in Narega easier than to take the risk of growing crops. So we need to think holistically, and the ones who think most holistically and know the reality best are not the planners, are the farmers. Rural India should go back to much more involvement of the rurals in their lives.
All right, on that note, we're going to wrap up today's discussion, which has been a rather interesting one. Many, many thanks to all our panelists for joining in, and we really do hope the policy makers are listening at least to what Dr. Dror has said about mass customization. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.